What's going on, y'all? It's Malcolm, and welcome to the Loung'n Out podcast. Whether you're joining us for the first time or you're a returning lounger, I'm excited to have you here. For our new listeners, Loung'n Out is a podcast where we dive into a variety of topics that I find fascinating. From video games, fragrances, movies, shows, to comics, all along the way, we'll have engaging discussions and entertaining conversations. And for my returning loungers, welcome back. Your support really does mean the world to me, and I appreciate you pulling up. Whether you're new or returning, I do encourage you to follow the podcast so you never miss an episode. Whether you decided to hit that follow button before we begin, in the middle of an episode that catches your interest, or after you listen to what you feel is a fire episode, your support is truly appreciated. Let's keep the conversations going and the community growing. Thank you for being a part of the Lounge crew. What's going on, guys? It's Malcolm, and welcome to the Loung'n Now podcast. As you can see, I got Chae in the building. What's up, Chae?
Hey.
As you saw in the title, today's episode, we're going to be focusing on an in-depth review of the latest movie from the John Wick franchise, Ballerina. All right. Chae and I saw it last week, and honestly, I thought it was a damn good movie. I felt like I was a lot more blown away watching this movie than I was The Thunderbolts by a long shot.
Yeah, it was definitely action-packed for sure.
Yeah, I'm already waiting for, hopefully they do a sequel. That's how I feel about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, you ready to get into the questions, or you just want to talk about it for a little bit, or you just want to?
We can do the questions.
Okay, cool. I was thinking about going to see it again, though. I was like, I think I want to go see it again. And then see everything that I didn't notice the first time, you know what I mean? After because some things, once you see it from the end, you got to go back and watch it from the beginning to kind of see how things unfold and whatnot.
Yeah.
And so I was going to see if it was one of those movies, but honestly, I thought it was, I don't know. I thought it was a really good addition to the John Wick franchise. You know what I mean? And I think that, in my opinion, I think it stands on its own two legs without leaning too heavily on, the whole John Wick name and all that stuff. You know what I mean? So,
yeah.
So, your overall impressions, what are your initial thoughts on Ballerina, and how does it compare to the previous John Wick universe entries?
Well, my first initial thought about the movie, I really thought John Wick was going to take her under his wing and train her to be the new face of John Wick. For that, for whoever, I guess, faction or whatever John Wick's in. But it wasn't like that. It was just, it was a standalone. It was mostly about, so the main character is Eve, and pretty much the whole movie is mostly about her. And her revenge get back story. So, but I'm glad that John Wick did make an appearance, because I was a little worried. I was like,
spoiler review, actually. So if y'all haven't seen this movie, go ahead and log off, go watch it. I strongly encourage y'all to go watch this movie and to come right back. We'll be here. All right. But I didn't expect John. Did I expect John? Actually, no, because I was thinking that John Wick was gonna, I was thinking it was after the latest John Wick movie, John Wick 4. And so I didn't realize it was going to be set in the time frame that it was, which was basically during the first John Wick, right? Because whenever he came back, or he was going through down the staircase, whenever she first saw him, she was just like, really? Is this all over, some dog? He's like, it's not just some dog, basically.
I'm not sure exactly, but I think I read up somewhere where it was between 3 and 4.
Oh, it was between 3 and 4. I was thinking it was 1 for some reason. But yeah, okay, yeah. Okay, that's cool. which I'm pretty sure they dye his hair because when you see him, like like when he's not in character, he has some gradients in his beard and stuff like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But he does make that like stealthy killer look cool, though. You know what I mean? Like that really well dressed. He has that sleek outfit or that suit with the tie and shit like that with the bulletproof like blazer, which is crazy. But I thought, let's see. Sorry, I don't know why my phone does that, man. But my initial thoughts, though, I thought it was really cool. To be honest, like to get like a female's spin on it, you know what I mean? The fact that, you know, females can be just as deadly. And I think the whole premise was basically fight like a girl, because during that one scene, whenever she was training with the other guy and they were in like in their gis, she was being overpowered by the guy. And so the woman was asking her, what, like, why can't you defeat him? She's like, well, he's much stronger than I am. She's like, it's always going to be somebody bigger and stronger than you are, this, that, and the other. You need to learn how to fight like a girl. And then she gets the idea to kick him in the balls. And so that's what she did, which is, you know, what women would typically go for when fighting, you know, a guy who's, you know, going to be stronger, bigger than they are. So, so that was the whole, in my opinion, the premise of the movie was to fight like a girl, on top of the whole her getting revenge. Because in this movie, her dad, I guess he was a part of I don't even know what the organization was called, the faction that was basically.
They were Russians in that. Right,
I think they might have been Russian, yeah, because they were like the antagonists, right? Basically, it's like kind of like you don't meddle in their business and you don't want to war with them, and so like basically the faction that she was with, Eve, they didn't want any problems with that Russian faction, you know, because he kept threatening, like, you know, if you don't get this under control, we will go to war. And like that's what she didn't want. So
so in the beginning of the movie, Eve's father was trying to pretty much protect her, and pretty much her father betrayed his organization,
which was that Russian faction, though, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And of course, since he betrayed, and I guess in the John Wick world, your word is your bond. Like he tried to leave, and of course he got killed for it. Mm-hmm. So that was the beginning of Eve's story when she was a little girl. Of course, you know, she wants to get her revenge back, her get back. So, I think later on, I think she was in the, I'm not sure, she was like in a church or a hospital. Mm-hmm. One of the guys from John Wick's organization pretty much took her in.
Oh yeah. I think she might have been in either a hospital or a police station, I think. Or something like that. Yeah. And the older guy, I can't remember his name, the white guy, he sees her sitting, and she has that glass figurine, the ballerina, that's in, like, you know, those wind up ballerina toys that you just wind them up, and they have like the little glass dome over top of them. Yeah. And she was sitting with that. And so like he saw her with that covered in blood, but I'm pretty sure he knew what was happening, like why she was there. And so he's just like, look, I'll take you here. If you trust me, this, that, and the other, we'll go here. And so like she went with them, and I guess she got taken under the woman's faction that John Wick was with. Was John Wick with that faction?
I believe so. Because I think they all had the similar back tattoos.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So he was, I won't say take her under his wing, but pretty much like she joined that faction basically. And like from the moment she was probably like 9 or 12 or whatever age she was at that time, whenever her father was killed, years have passed, and now she's an adult, practicing, ballet. And I think that, like, has something to do with like her training, you know, like she was training to become a ballerina, and not become a ballerina, but she was just, you know, practicing ballet, and you could see her doing those spins on her toes, and her feet were starting to bleed because she was just so persistent. And even the other woman was asking her like, why, like a friend, she's like, why are you pushing yourself so hard? So I felt like that was like setting the tone for the rest of the movie, that like she has vengeance on her mind, and that she wasn't going to stop no matter what, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like, you know, she wasn't going to stop trying to be the best, you know, ballet dancer or ballerina, even though her feet are bleeding and all this other stuff. Like nothing was going to stop her. So I felt like that set the tone for the rest of the movie, which I thought was pretty cool. But I will say, when it comes to the whole ballerina aspect, I felt like that all took a back seat. Once everything started like, you know, unfolding, and she started like going after this person and that person and all this other shit, like once the action took part, I feel like all the whole ballerina aspect fell to the back seat. But then it came full circle at the end, though. I don't know if you noticed.
I didn't notice that.
That same little toy that her father had.
When she found, and
she left it, you know, at the end, kind of like a calling card, like the ballerina.
Okay.
You know, like the Baba Yaga.
Yeah.
Like with John Wick, like he has that name, you know, the boogeyman. Like she's the ballerina, basically. So, yeah, so that was like her calling card that she left at the end of the movie. But I don't want to jump too far ahead. Even though I just jumped to the end. So did you enjoy the blend of the ballet and assassin skills? Or how do you feel like those elements like integrate into the story?
As far as her fighting, I didn't really see too many aspects of like her using her, like being a ballerina.
Right.
She learned how to be a very skilled fighter.
Right.
I'm not sure how much time lapsed in that movie, but like 6 months or so,
something like that.
Because like after she, the lady that ran it, I can't remember her, Madam's, I don't know, Madam something, but like, she tested her to prove that she is willing to do what it takes to kill somebody.
Yeah,
and
that was a crazy test.
She brought somebody in
who was already a part of that organization,
Okay.
but I think, like you said, it's kind of like blood in, blood out, basically. Like if you do something to betray, like your only way out is like death, I think. You know what I mean? And so she brought in somebody who I guess maybe I don't say disrespected for lack of a better word, but she betrayed the organization or the faction, and so like she was going to get killed anyways. And so she had that test where she was sitting in a room at that table where it looked like an interrogation room, and both of them had like a disassembled gun and one bullet, and so they had to assemble the gun and put the bullet in. But the other chick who was assembling the gun, she knew what the deal was. And so she was, you know, assembling the gun and everything. And then once she caught on to what she was doing the same thing. But I guess she didn't realize that the woman was actually going to pull the trigger. And so that's when she thought, like, she had that I don't say impulse, but that initial reaction to kill her before she got killed. And so I guess that was the test. Like, will you, you know, kill when, you know.
She did slightly hesitate. Because she didn't want to kill her for real. But then she had like a flashback of her father being killed, and then she was like, "I need to do this to get the training that I need, and of course, like revenge her father's death." So so it was like an initiation.
Yeah.
Once she did that, I think that's when she got her back tattooed.
Well, yeah, because that was like the final test, basically, and like you said, like she had that flashback, and I think that was just like. That was that straw that broke the camel's back for her at that moment. And that other girl who was asking her why she pushing herself so hard, she didn't make it to that point. And so that woman saw that she didn't have it in her, so she sent her elsewhere. I don't know, she killed her or something like that, or she's doing something else. But, you know, they didn't really like say exactly what happened to the friend. I don't know if they were friends, but they both like, I guess were like roommates essentially, because in that that organization, they all slept together in the same room, but they had their own beds, kind of like, I guess like military style. You know what I mean?
I mean, if that organization is very secretive and she's already been through some of the training, and then I feel like they had an offer because you want to keep it a secret. Mm-hmm. Like, what if they let her just back out in public and she's talking to random people about it?
Exactly.
So they didn't show it, but
you feel like
my guess they might have got rid of her for real. So
that sucks, man. Like, it's just like, I mean, I tried, but so
because remember Madam, the lady that's Madam, she's like
she's the director, I think is what they refer to her
because like Eve had enough hate to keep going, and then she's like, the one they let her go was like, she just had enough. She was just sad inside. She didn't have what it takes to keep pushing.
Right.
So, and because like Eve said, she was the best dancer there, I guess in terms of like the best fighter.
Right.
But she just didn't have what it takes
to kill. Yeah. Which, I guess that's just with anybody. Anybody like, you probably have two people in a room, just kind of like that test. You know what I mean? Who's going to pull the trigger first, or who can pull the trigger, So, I mean, I guess that's just how it is. Like, not everybody just has that, I won't say dog in them to kill. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, do you think you think you'd be able to, like, kill if you had to?
If I was in Eve's shoes and I needed the training, and I was like, of course, if you really, like, you don't have to be my father. It could be my mother. Like, if I really love my mom and someone murdered her in front of me as a kid, you probably want your get back. So, it sucks that I have to do this to prove that, I have to kill somebody else. But, I mean, what if you do find a person? Are you going to kill them then? So, you gotta pop your cherry somehow, You just gotta like. It's unfortunate. So. But I don't know. It's hard to say. It's
because
easy
you're not
to say,
in that situation.
I'm not in that situation. So it's like, I don't really, this person don't really have nothing to do with what I got going on. So I don't know if I really want to kill this person, but they're not gonna train me if I don't.
Yeah. Well, I think that woman was going to get killed either way. You know what I mean? Whether she actually pulled the trigger or not. Because like whenever they brought her in, she had the suit on, like like she was wearing later on after she went in, like the Asian woman that she killed.
Yeah.
When they were assembling, because she had a suit on, so she was already like went through that whole process or whatever, and so I feel like she had did something to where she was, going to get killed. And so she was just pretty much subjected to that test for Eve, whether she was going to be able to kill or not. But I think she was going to get killed either way. But I don't think Eve knew that. You know what I mean? So, but I thought that was cool, though. That was a cool little test because she was all beaten up and bloodied and stuff like that. She's like, I guess she was trying to tell Eve about the organization, like, they'll do you the same way or something like that, whatever the case may be. But it was cool though. So her the woman is the director basically. I feel like she had a Russian accent. So So how did the movie's tone and pacing feel? And was it engaging from start to finish?
I feel like the pace of the movie was like it kept me in the movie the whole time. Like there was no slow point. Like, I mean, of course there's always dialogue in the movie, but like there's always something leading to another good ass fight scene.
Yeah,
like
man.
It never slowed down really from beginning to end. I mean, it gives you the backstory in the beginning. It shows her the middle, like the training, and then how she got her revenge towards the end.
Yeah. And because it's like, all right, we need to show y'all exactly why she's doing this. Okay, we showed y'all it was her father. He's killed. She wants to get revenge and all this other stuff. So once they got out of the way, you know, this action just, you know, just followed, man. It was just like nonstop. And it was almost like when John Wick, whenever he would have like the bounty on him or whatever, like so many people were coming up to him to kill. Like he didn't have time to stop and rest to really, you know, catch his breath between, you know, defending himself and killing this person and defending himself and killing that person. And it kind of felt the same way with her. Like it just seemed like one person after another, you know, and they had a couple other layers, like nuance in that movie. Like the dude and his daughter, whenever she went to that loft, like she went into that, like that, it was like a hotel or sorts. And she saw that everybody was waiting for the bounty for that one dude that was up in the room. But then whenever she snuck out of the building and she was on the ledge and she snuck into the room.
Oh, you're talking about
the dude, what's his name?
Daryl.
Yeah, Daryl.
Well, yeah. I know him as Daryl from The Walking Dead.
Right.
But he was trying to protect, was it his daughter?
Yeah, because and it was all from that faction, like the Russian faction that was the antagonist, you know what I mean? Like, I guess he left or something like that, because it's like, again, it's like blood in and blood out. And if you're born in that like Russian faction or whatever, like you don't leave. And so his daughter was born in that faction. And so he was trying to get her out, but they were trying to get the daughter back. And so he was on a run with his daughter. And so whenever she entered the building or entered that room, something happened to where they initiated the bounty or made it higher. And so now he was telling her, like, you don't know what you just did. Like, now, you know, people are really going to start coming after me now. And so, like, once she went into the room, you saw everybody in the lobby waiting, got up to go into the room to kill the dude, to get the daughter back.
Yeah.
And so that was like another, like, you know, layer that was adding to the whole storyline, which is really cool, though.
Yeah.
And the crazy thing is that little girl reminded me of my daughter, man. Like just the way she looked, like the skin tone, like her face and everything, like her curly hair. I was like, damn, bro. Like,
yeah.
Like even when she would call him daddy, I was like, damn, bro. Like I feel like she's talking to me. Yeah. So it was sick, man. But I agree. I felt like the tone was nicely paced. I would say out of 10, I would say like the tone was probably like the tone and the pacing was probably like an 8.5. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it was up there.
Like she did a few missions in the beginning. I think they went to a nightclub, and I think her mission was to like recapture this Asian girl.
Yeah.
And of course, like this Asian gang comes in and like, you know, trying to kill off Eve, but I don't know. She's just such a badass, man.
Yeah.
It's like she just like a female version of John Wick. So.
Yeah, and you would think that like that because it was an older dude who was like leading the gang. And I don't know if he was like the father of that girl or something like that. I don't know, because he grabs the girl that she was supposed to be protecting by the arm and was like yanking her like through the club to like leave.
Yeah.
But then whenever she's like, I can't let you leave with her, he's like, all right. And so there's other two dudes, you know, they showed up and they started like whooping on her and and then like he like was joining in as well. I was like, shit, bro. They were pretty intense with their fighting, which was a pretty dope fight. And it was in that club, but it was like a ice club or something like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because they all were wearing coats and
I
ice was everywhere.
Yeah, it was pretty cold in there.
Yeah, so it was cool. And just like how creative they get with these fights, man. Just like the choreograph, like fights and shit like that. It's just super creative, man.
It was pretty good. Like I've watched a lot of fighting movies, a lot of action-packed movies, and like certain, you know, when they try to hit people, it's like you can see how they missed them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This one, I didn't see no, like, everything was pretty much on point as far as choreography. Like, everybody was like, it didn't look fake. It looked like everything was just like...
you felt the punches, man. You know, and it helped too that we were in like the extreme theater, because like that's why it cost us like a lot more, not a lot more, but like I think it costed a few bucks more to see that movie, because the speakers were louder, the screen was bigger. So like whenever like the bombs and the guns were going off and stuff like that, it was really like, reverberating throughout the freaking theater.
Yeah.
And I was just like, okay, like I don't think I could have seen it any other way, to be honest. Because like whenever a grenade would go off, man, you felt it, bro. Yeah, like whenever she would hit somebody, you felt it. It was just like, man, like I said, I was thinking about going to see it again. Like I really do think I'm going to go see it again after this. Yeah. So going into the plot and story, what did you think of Eve's revenge journey, and was it satisfying and well developed?
Yeah, I think from beginning to end, just her journey alone, trying to find her father's killer, because what helped her find her father's killer was I think some of the people had marked X's on the wrist.
Right, yeah.
So that helped lead to more, I guess, clues to where they were located. And another thing she did, so in the John Wick world, they use gold coins that were their currency form. Right. And they would use that for like favors and promises that you would help out. And I think she gave it to somebody to find a location.
I forget. I hate when that happens, man. Like sometimes it happens like even like say
I know where she found out. She remember when not at the Continental Hotel, but I love when they show like these secret hideouts with like gun stashes.
Oh, that one dude.
And they were trying to get him.
Yeah.
And he's like, all right, I'll tell you where they're at. Because he was pretty pissed. They blew up his little gun stash house. And
because like when she went in, like she's like, I'd like to go hunting. And like at first, like if you went into the store, you wouldn't know that this dude had like this button that he would press and like the secret door would open. And then like they would go into this room just full of it was like a whole arsenal of weapons. You know what I mean? He's like, okay, so I got this weapon if you're trying to do this, but I really like this gun here. But then that's like, she's like telling him what she's trying to do. Like, those people come and destroy that shop. And so that's when he gets pissed because he's just like, I'm just here to sell you guns. All right. Like, I'm not trying to get involved with those people. I'm not trying to get involved, but other than just sell guns. But after they destroy the shop, he's like, fuck it. Like here, these are the people you're looking for.
Right. Yeah.
So I feel like that was fairly satisfying.
Man, I loved the fight scene in that one. It's just like, a part I liked when she I think she threw a grenade. Like a guy got trapped behind the door. And she threw the grenade, and then she opened it, and there was like a big old hole there. Yes. I'm like, oh man,
that was so fucking cool. Like that whole grenade scene. Like she's trying to run from the people who are after her in the shop, all right? And so she goes into like this like cellar like room, but it has more weapons and shit. And so I think some of the guns weren't loaded or had any bullets, but she found like this box of like hand grenades, and she found like another belt of hand grenades. And so she made use of every single grenade, bro. Like that one dude where she just like, she put a grenade in his mouth, and like she flipped over the table where she was on one side of the table and he was on the other, and like the grenade blew and like his whole body just splattered.
Oh yeah, that was a good one too.
Yeah, it was just like, it's like she shielded herself with that table though. It's just like the way the camera shifted as she flipped over the table. I was like, God damn, that's so creative, man. And I was saying, like, I was like, man, I really hope like whoever directed this movie can direct a Mortal Kombat, because how violent and just over the top it was. Like that reminds me of what, like, that's, to me, it's what it takes to make a good Mortal Kombat movie. Just over the top violence that's, yes, it's ridiculous, but it's fun and entertaining. And I keep saying this, but I had a really good time during each moment or each scene. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
I really do recommend that bomb scene. I mean, just so many different scenes, man.
Each fight scene is not a letdown. Like it was like outdoing each other one. Like it kept on getting better and better and better. I'm like, wow.
Yeah, man. Like you said, she trapped a dude behind the door she threw a bomb and mom in a door with him, but she like trapped him behind the door and it exploded. And when she opened it up, it's like a doorway. It kind of reminded me of like Zelda. Like
oh yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Oh shit! Like when you like
oh yeah, yeah. I remember that day. Yeah.
Oh shit, that was funny, man. It's like moments like that. Like I think you heard a few chuckles throughout the theater. Like whenever she opened the door, seen that doorway, I was like, okay, that was clever.
Yeah,
that was good. So how effectively does the film balance action with character development?
I don't know what you think.
I feel like they do a good job. You know, even though there's a lot of like fighting and, you know, violence and shit like that. I think the development was that she was like wet behind the ears, you know, going from still training, you know, killing that girl to prove that she's ready to put on her first mission. And then like our first mission goes well. And then like it just, once she's done with that mission, she finds the clue with like the X on her wrist, the people that because those people who had the X on her wrist are the same people who killed her father.
Yeah.
And so that triggered like, okay, I'm on to something. I need to figure out who these people are because they know who killed my dad. And so that's what pretty much got that ball rolling even more. And so she cut off the hand of the person who had that X after she killed him on his wrist. She cut off the hand, brought it to the director, and threw the hand on the desk. And she's like, "What do you know about this? And what can you tell me about this?" And the director's like, "You know, we don't want to go barking up that tree, basically. You know what I mean?"
Yeah.
And so she basically went around behind her back and just did her own digging to find those people. And once she found those people, she ran into the guy who played Daryl, and that was a whole nother mission, and just meeting up with John Wick eventually. And you still see that she was early in her assassin stages because John Wick just like manhandled her like it was nothing. Like, and it wasn't even trying, you know what I mean? But you can still see she had promise to her. Like she can eventually be like John Wick, you know what I mean? And so just that whole character development of seeing who she was when she was like, you know, practicing the ballet up until at the very end, after she's pretty much did what she set out to do, was to execute the guy who killed her dad. I feel like that was great character development. You know what I mean? Like it got me wanting to see how much more seasoned she'll be in the sequel, and then so on and so forth. You know what I mean? Like I think this movie was a great intro to the ballerina, essentially.
I feel like another character development in the movie was when she met John Wick the first time, and she wanted to leave, I think.
Yeah,
and I think John Wick was like telling her like, you have a choice, and that was, I think there was what, 2 maybe 3 times that he said, you have a choice, like, and I don't know why. I guess she just wanted to go solo, maybe. But yeah, she was just like, I guess that was kind of like her John's way of like, I don't know, give her the option to like, you don't have to be here. But I feel like if you choose to leave, there's consequences.
Yeah.
So it's like,
which I think that's why he said that, like, she's like, how come you haven't left? And he's like, I'm still trying. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I guess he's trying to figure out exactly how he can get out without being killed. You know what I mean? Like, like I said, blood in, blood out. Like, you just don't, you don't leave. It's just like kind of like it's a sworn oath that you take when you join this, this initiation, I guess, or this group. And I think he, like you said, he's still trying to figure out how to get out, because he was out there in the first one though, right? Because that's when they got his puppy killed.
Because everybody thought he retired.
Yeah.
Because he found his wife, he fell in love, but what brought him back? I think she died from cancer or something.
Something like that, yeah. And she gave him the puppy, and that's all he really had to remember her by, essentially.
Yeah.
And so that mob boss's son killed the dog. Well, did he come to his house and kill the dog? Yeah, he came to his house and killed the dog.
And stole his car. I don't think he cared too much about that, but it was more of the dog because it symbolized his last memory of his wife.
Right, yeah. So, which I guess that makes sense, because it's like he was... that his whole journey is based on revenge, basically, out of his dog being killed. Just like the ballerina's whole journey is based on revenge for her dad being killed. You know what I mean? So it's like, some parallels there between the two stories.
Yeah, I was thinking about that earlier, because they both got their own revenge story. So yeah.
I wonder if that's like everybody in those factions, like, at least the faction that like trains John Wick and like the ballerina, are all those people like orphans or something like that, or they have had something that, that pushes them over that edge to kill. You know what I mean?
As far as maybe on John Wick's organization, but I feel like they have to have some type of traumatized situation to where like they gotta somehow be selected to be in this organization. But as far as like the Russians organization, from what I saw, they were training kids.
Yeah, man. That's like they...
that was the whole point of like that was the whole point of her, because they're actually trying to train Eve, and her father didn't want her in that lifestyle.
Yeah, right.
They want, her father wanted her to have a normal life. And same situation with Daryl. Like, he took her out.
So so I guess that's crazy that she met up with Daryl, who is basically like her dad, and Daryl's daughter was like her. You know what I mean? It's crazy.
Two different, same story, but like same scenario where like
we keep calling him Daryl.
I don't know. I just know Daryl. Because I saw his wanted picture at first, and I'm like,
Pine. Yeah, his name is Pine in the movie. Yeah.
But yeah, I was like, was that Daryl?
Yeah.
They showed him with his wanted picture. And it was so quick, but then when I saw him at the hotel, I was like, oh my goodness, it is really him.
He did a pretty good job in that movie too, though, like as an assassin and stuff. But I mean, he was always kind of like, badass though.
Yeah.
In The Walking Dead and shit like that. So I think it was fitting for him to play that part, and to see that like I don't know, I thought it was really endearing to see them as father figures, just even though they're assassins, and just how much love they have for the little girls. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which I thought that was like, just as a father, I related to that like quite a bit.
Yeah.
So, but that I think that was cool too. It's like a lot of similarities in that movie, but in a good way. It was kind of just like, it was just no matter what, she was just being tied back to the whole John Wick, series and shit like that. But in the same sense, like we mentioned, it's still good enough to be its own movie. Like, even if John Wick had nothing to do with this movie, like, it'd still be super dope.
Yes, I believe. Yeah, I agree.
Oh yeah. Okay. Let's see. Sorry, I always got to try to figure out where I left off last. So were there any surprises or twists that caught you off guard?
Yes. So towards the end, apparently Eve had a sister.
Yeah. Well, they mentioned her in the beginning. With her dad mentioned her in the beginning. Like, she was just asking about her sister, and he said something, I can't remember exactly what, but she was like, I miss her. You know what I mean? And then later on, you find out that her sister.
So she was already in training.
Yeah.
And that's why they couldn't really see each other.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But yeah, that was probably the only twist that I would mention in that movie. It was kind of like bittersweet because it was like a little too late. Like, I found out you like, oh, I got family still, but then like she ends up getting killed.
Yeah,
I'm like, because I thought they were gonna do like like a sister. Hey, since we're family, let's kill the Chancellor.
Right.
So I was just like, but yeah, I think it was just a little bit too much. Because they threw like a bunch of grenades.
Yeah.
In that
but they were
cottage or cabin or whatever.
They were having like a pretty strong disagreement in that when they were talking with one another. You know what I mean? Like, I forget what it was about exactly, but it kind of seemed like they were about to be at odds with one another. Just she was gonna go her way and the sister was gonna go her way. And whatever happens. But I think I figured out that it was her sister, but by the way that like her sister killed that one dude who was supposed to kill Eve, and you can just tell like there was something up with why she killed him. You know what I mean? I don't know if you remember that part. Because I forget, like the sister, she had a gun held towards Eve, and so did another person who was about to pull the trigger on her. But then the sister turned towards the other dude and then killed him. And then Eve was kind of like, what the fuck? And then I think, can't remember. Yeah, it's been a minute. I hate that. Like I said, I should have seen this movie again just to refresh my memory on it. But yeah, like they were having a pretty intense conversation. You know what I mean? Because I think the older sister who stayed in that organization, like she was trying to, I think she still saw like how that organization sees things, and Eve saw things completely differently. And so like, there was just that going back and forth, that the dynamic,
Yeah.
So, but I think if her sister wasn't killed, I think like, they probably would have been enemies. I don't know if you played Tekken or not. Kind of like Anna and Nina. Like they're twins, but they both are assassins, but they try to kill each other.
Yeah, but they never could.
No, never could. But it kind of, you wonder if they hold back. You know what I mean? Do they really try to kill each other, or is it just kind of like do they barely miss? If they say if she shoots at my sister, does she barely miss her with the bullet, or like?
I get it. Yeah, I get what you're saying. She'll probably end up like just graze her,
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I ain't gonna kill you, but I'm gonna show you who's better, So
it's a cat, man. And put you back on the street, girl. Let's see. I think another surprise that caught me off guard, the whole John Wick thing. You know what I mean? I was wondering if he was going to have any involvement, but it still was kind of a surprise that he was in the movie the few times that he was. And it was cool because I feel like his few scenes that he had were very impactful. You know what I mean? Especially in like the last of the end of the movie, when she was kind of like she was on such a rampage that they had to bring in John Wick to stop her, which is, I guess, telling, though, what kind of assassin she's going to be. She's going to make a name of herself as the ballerina that, the only person who could take her down is John Wick himself. You know what I mean? So I think that was pretty dope. But even so, like, she was barely able to keep up with John Wick. And, like, he was just, like, it was like she was a little pup and he was a wolf, and he was just barely just, roughing her up a little bit, But then he kind of like, I didn't expect him to actually...
Because he could have killed her at any time. They had like their own little standoff.
Yeah.
And she tried her best.
She did,
but like everywhere, like anytime she would try to hide behind something, John Wick was like right there. Like he was like, I already know what you're gonna do. Like I've done this for years. Like I know all the tricks. Like you're not gonna do better than me. But yeah, he gave her many chances. Like just go. You know, you don't want to do this. But then like she just kind of like convinced him.
I have to.
Just let me finish this one job. Let me get my get back, and then whatever happens after that happens. But I think John Wick understood. Yeah, because he was in the same shoes. Like he's like, oh, you want to get your get back? Okay, I understand how you feel.
But he's like,
I'm gonna give you to what
midnight.
Yeah. And he was that close. He was watching his flight. It was like 11:59. So he's like, you got 1 minute left.
Oh shit!
So it
was cool.
But yeah, he was very close to getting her, but she got her revenge back.
Yeah, that was cool, man.
I think out of all, there was like very very many good fight scenes. This is probably the first time I've seen a flamethrower. This flamethrower fight scene was like crazy.
That was peak, bro.
Just I don't know how to explain it, but you just have to go see it yourself. But like, this is crazy how these two flamethrowers like just pinpoint accuracy, like they man. And then what's that one? They kind of like cross streams and they're like going in circles.
Oh my gosh.
I think that was like, oh, okay, cool. That's cool.
Yeah, that was just so creative. And I guess like thinking about it, the way they were, I don't want to say dancing, but it kind of seemed like if you think about it, it was kind of like a dance between her and the dude with the flamethrower. So I mean, you know, it's like a ballerina dances around and stuff like that, you know. Yeah. So but like seriously, that flamethrower just took everything to the next level. Like it really did. Just like he would fire the flamethrower, she would dodge it and get out of the way, and then she'd do the same and he'd dodge it, and it's just back and forth. And like you said, it was like pinpoint accuracy with such range, man. Like those things can like fucking like hit your neighbor a few houses down, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like it's so crazy. And they're just like fire beams, really, is what it looked like. And I mean, just whose idea was it to, you know what? Let's throw in some flamethrowers in there, all right? You know, they can just that's goddamn. And it worked, man. It fucking worked, dude. Yeah. Like
I mean, we've all seen, you know, axe throwing, knives, guns, but like just to add in a flamethrower, I was like, this is way different. It's cool as hell too.
Yeah, she was just like mowing through guys though with those flamethrowers, you know, and it was cool because whenever she first got it, like apparently when she saw it, she was like, cool. And it was kind of like a nod to when John Wick found something and he was like, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And like it was cool whenever she first got it. They were in that like long hallway and it was like really dark and they were kind of like walking slow, but then you see her turn it on and you see like just the flame of the flamethrower, and then she just starts torching everybody, man. Yeah, just illuminating the whole fucking hallway or whatever it was, the corridor, I guess. It was just, man, that was like I said, the bomb scene, the flamethrower, I want to say it was something else that like stood out quite a bit. But so as far as character development, how compelling was Eve as the protagonist? Did she resonate as a character with you?
I don't know about
resonating.
I don't know if I can go that far.
Right.
I don't have that. I mean, I've never been in that situation.
Right.
Would I like to have a revenge? Yeah, but not to that degree. You know? Yeah. But
I would say I understood why she's doing everything, is what I'm gonna say. Like I can see why she did what she, you know, like why she endured everything to get to the Chancellor to kill him. You know what I mean? Like I see that. I can relate to that, because I mean, I think like we mentioned earlier, we'd all like to say that, given that situation, we'd be the one who wants to get revenge and, just mow through people until we found our Chancellor.
Especially for someone who's new in the game, she was killing a lot of people.
I swear, bro. Like I call it what you want, like plot armor or whatever it is, but she was just, man, unstoppable, man. And like even when she would get like injured, it was just kind of like a quick acknowledgement, like and then she would continue on the fight, which it's like it didn't even matter. It's kind of like when you watch anime and somebody would get their arm cut off, but they would still be fighting and shit like that. Like it just didn't happen. Like me, I'm like, what the fuck? So but Resonate, I would say that's a little bit of a reach, but as far as like understanding her motives, I would say I get why she did it. You know what I mean? So, yeah. But for sure, like I'm glad that this was made a movie. What were your impressions of the Chancellor, and was he a convincing villain?
Yeah, he was a very convincing villain. I was kind of surprised how when Eve found him, that little town that he was at, like everybody in that town basically we're all assassins.
Like, everybody, like
they all had like regular day jobs,
right?
But like, it's like, okay, if you cross us, you're gonna meet all of us. Like
that's what I think the dude with the gun store that she went to, he was saying that like I can tell you how to get there, but nobody ever makes it back. Like nobody, like you might know of a person going there, but you won't hear about them returning at all because like you get there and you're killed. Like there's nobody who's ever survived, and I think she's the only one who's ever survived going to that town. It's really like whatever town or city you live in. Imagine like everybody's connected. Like, everybody, like your neighbors, all that stuff. And everybody's a trained assassin. Like if you like in your town, just imagine like you're a trained assassin, like your neighbor, and like people the next few blocks over, everybody's connected and everybody's just well trained as an assassin. That's what that town is like with the Chancellor. And he runs everything.
And then like also, when you see these people with kids, you would think they are the parents of these kids. All these kids are trained future assassins.
Yeah, because they were on the playground, and when everybody was going inside, you saw the fucking like
body targets.
Targets on the fucking playground, insinuating that these kids are using those as targets or whatever. It's like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
But at first, because when she first entered the town, and she went into like that cabin, like that restaurant or whatever, everybody seemed so innocent. You know what I mean? Everybody seemed like it was just like a normal little cozy town, like one of those cabins that you get away to in the winter time with your family and stuff like that. That's what it seemed like. That's what it seemed like. Those family were probably on vacation, but
like you're an outsider going to those old cafes.
Yeah.
And you see a few people just eating, and then like, even though they're both like a couple eating, they're like both assassins. Even the waitress, the one who was making a coffee for her. But what I was gonna say was like, I'm kind of curious to know what he did. Like, was his part of the organization? Like, were they hitmen? Like, like John, how John Wick,
like the Chancellor's organization.
Yeah, like what?
I don't know. I would say they're hitmen because the way she found out about if they were still kind of like active or not, the guy whose hand she cut off, they were coming after her. You know what I mean?
So I think that part, the very first clue that she got. Remember, she was in the nightclub.
Yeah,
trying to get the Asian girl, and then she was trying to leave, And then
he was just barreling down the street.
Yeah, somebody ran her over. Of course, she killed them. But then she saw, I guess, the guy's sleeve raise up, and you can see the X on his wrist. It's like, oh, yeah, these are the same people that killed my father. So
yeah, I would assume that like they have like a team of assassins or whatnot. But I think like everybody's so well trained and shit like that to also keep outsiders away. You know what I mean? So that they can be like, because the way he described like, that nobody like they haven't had to do something in like 2 or 3 centuries or something like that, to where it's just like, you know, that mantle gets passed down and passed down and passed down, and that whole community just stays there. They don't go, like they don't leave, they don't do anything, but like they do, like I don't know if they get hired to do certain jobs or whatever. And like, say if you really want the job done and you know you want to get it done right, you can hire them. I don't know. Like I'd like for them to explore that more.
Yeah, I think they can extend like maybe a decent backstory.
Yeah,
but
because I feel like it was a little vague on their backstory. You know what I mean?
I didn't know there was another organization.
No,
I thought it was all John Wick stuff. You know, so
right. But that could be
just for them to introduce it, like you said, it could be a spinoff to other movies that could lead to their side, their POV. How they organize and whatever they do.
Yeah, so I mean, they could have plans on like elaborating a little bit more in future movies. So how did the encounters with John Wick impact the story, and did his character meet your expectations? Which I know we kind of covered that a little earlier, but I mean...
Well, a little bit. I didn't want to see... I'm kind of glad I see less John Wick.
Yeah.
Because we've already seen the other ones. We all know what John Wick's about.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad that this movie was more geared toward Eve's story.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, John Wick did premiere a couple times. I think that was good enough.
Yeah, I think so too.
I think that was enough to just like let us know this is still John Wick's world.
Right.
But Eve's part of it, you know, just her little side story. I feel like any one of them could have a good side story.
I think so too.
Connected. Everybody has their own story. Possibly their own movie. Like if they really wanted to extend that far, but yeah.
Like I mentioned after we first saw it, it'd be cool if they had like a war of the factions, you know what I mean? Like the different houses cool. Or whatever, you know, just each of them going at, you know, whatever or whoever, you know, just fighting with one another and shit like that.
I mean, they had to, because apparently they had a truce.
At
one point. So they're like, don't cross us, we won't cross you. So they at one point they had a truce somewhere.
You have to know that like that one the Chancellor's faction meant business, that they didn't want to go to war with them because they probably already went to war with them at one point and lost. And he's like, you know what the fuck will happen if we have to, you know, go
like,
there.
Even the director she was like, well, I told her not to go.
Mm-hmm.
This is her doing.
Right, yeah.
Because the Chancellor was like, well, she's still part of your group, so we still got to protect what we have, and then unfortunately we had to go to war. So but
and she had to strike a deal. She's like, let me send in John Wick, you know, and he'll take care of it. And that's when John Wick comes in, because like she was going basically rogue already, you know, just trying to, once she found out where she needed to go, which the Chancellor was the guy who killed her dad. Once she found out that's where she needed to go to get to him to kill him, like the woman was forbidding her to do so because she knew what that meant if she crossed those lines.
Right.
And so like she basically the Chancellor contacted her like, hey, we're about to go to war. Like if you don't call her to stand down, this is what's going to happen. And then she's like, you know what? Let me call in some help to neutralize her or whatever. And if we can get her taken care of, then let's just call it truce. And so that's when they called in John Wick, but John Wick ended up letting her do what she had to do. Gave her until midnight, which was just pretty.
I'm kind of surprised. John Wick is not the type of guy that would give you a chance.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, he's like, you're my target. I want to just take you out. But like, for some reason, because I don't think he knew her story until she explained it towards the end, right?
What's that?
Did she? Well, I think he knew she was there to get him, but I don't think he knew why. Like, I don't think he knew that he killed her father until she explained it.
Right? Yeah.
So I'm just kind of surprised, like, you know, he was just kind of hesitant to give her a choice. Like, I don't know. Maybe he was just impressed of how well she did. Like, I don't know. Like, he saw something in her. Yeah. Where, like,
excuse me,
didn't want to like kill her off so soon. So.
Yeah. I thought that was cool as well. Like I said, it just, I don't know why, it just always reminded me of, like, not always, but since then it's reminded me of, like, you know, just her as a little pup and him being this, like, you know, just wolf, you know, just because I mean the way he got off that train and he's like walking through the fog, and then like once she saw him finally like come through the fog, he's just kind of like, you know, it really helped paint that picture like he's the boogeyman. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah,
like,
when he stepped off the train.
Yeah. And it's just,
I was wondering, like, so like towards the end when John Wick called the director and he told her it's done, and she was like, I guess she thought she was dead, like she thought John Wick killed her,
right.
But John Wick's he's dead. So I was just wondering, like, what was her mindset? Like, was she's like, are we safe now, or someone's gonna take his place?
Yeah, and then come out to them. Yeah. So I guess that could be for the next movie,
because I can guarantee. Usually they usually try to make it where he probably had like a brother or a sister. You know what I mean? Because that's how 1 and 2 was,
right?
And John Wick,
yeah.
Because when they found out John Wick killed that one crime boss, and the second one that was his brother,
right? Yeah.
So it might do something similar to that.
I mean, yeah, because I mean, if all the connections that they've made between Ballerina and John Wick, it would make sense for them to do that, you know, because it's just like, you know, this is the Ballerina going to be connected to this one as an extension of the first one because she killed the Chancellor, and now who knows who's in the background at that I guess because the place that they are at, the snowy place, is called Hallstatt, Hallstatt. So I guess who else is in Hallstatt that's supposed to be, you know, next heir, you know what I mean? Like next to heir, he might have had another son or something like that, you know, who's gonna try to get revenge as well, and so it's just gonna go back and forth, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
it's like an endless cycle.
Yeah, exactly. Which I always like. That's what's crazy about, like, you know, in shootings in general, you know, like I watch all these like hood stories and shit like that, you know, and like how, you know, people would kill or like try to kill their ops, but then like say their friend gets killed, you know, but then like they go to kill the person who killed their friends, but then, you know, that's somebody's friend, and they come and like you know, try to retaliate, and it's just like go back and forth.
Basically,
yeah. So it's just like, you know, at what point do you just like
the war's never gonna end?
Yeah, exactly. So did the snowy setting of Hallstatt in the film's add to the film's atmosphere, and how did it enhance the scenes?
Let's see.
I think it added, because I think whenever she first got the coordinates to that place and she was going, and when they finally like panned out to show like the scope of this place, like where it was, it was very cool looking. I mean, very like cinematic, you know what I mean? Very like, it made you want to be there until you realize, what it's actually like. Everybody there is like trained assassins and shit like that. So, and to the point to where once you enter there, they got a dude up in a fucking tower with like 10 different telescopes, like that one. This telescope looks in this region of the fucking town. Yeah. That telescope looks in this region of the town. And so he's able to follow anybody, anywhere, wherever they go. And so it's just kind of like it really sets the tone that this is a very serious place, that this place means business. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that guy mentioned, like you go there, you're not getting out. But she did. She's the exception, basically. So, I think that really helped to set the scene, which, I mean, the snow, I thought it was cool, you know what I'm saying? Like the whole fight scene and stuff like that. But I don't really think like the snow really added to it per se.
Yeah.
But I do just think like the whole like landscape of it all, like the scenery, that it was cool looking.
Yeah. I mean, because you can tell that this is where, like, that's why they were so hard to find. It was a secluded area. Yeah. You have to be one of us to know where it's at. But yeah, this the whole very clean cut small town, I guess. It just made it look beautiful.
Yeah, I think so too. So as far as performance and direction, like how was the acting overall? Like any standout performances to you?
Not really.
Yeah.
As far as that, I mean, if this is going to be like voted for best action pack, probably so. But as far as like acting, no. Like this is a good action packed movie. Nothing more, nothing less.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's going to be an Emmy Award winning for acting. Like, you know, but
I do feel like at times like her acting was a little bit lacking, and some of the lines that she was supposed to like deliver, I was like but as far as like say if, no offense, I don't mean this by any offense though, if she didn't say anything throughout the whole movie, but just like the fighting and all that shit, that she nailed that part, like the action and all that shit, she nailed that. But it was just a few lines that it kind of felt like Gal Gadot-ish. Like I don't know if you're familiar with Gal Gadot's like work like that, and a lot of people feel like she's not a great actor at all, and really that she's just like good to look at. You know what I mean?
I mean, so if you go back on John Wick movie, he didn't really talk a lot either.
Yeah.
He didn't really have a whole bunch of dialogue. Like he said a few things, and he didn't really have a deep conversation with anybody. Like, but yeah, like
no, I think that's basically what it is. It's just really just turn your brain off, fun action, just really just.
I mean, she was on a mission. She found out what she needed to find out, and she was just there. She kept on moving, But as far as dialogue, I
don't think you go there for the dialogue, anyways. You know what I mean?
Nah, not for this movie.
Yeah, I think like movie like this, you want to hear less talking and more action. You know what I mean? It's just like that's kind of how I feel with like Transformers movies. You know what I mean? Like I want there to be like as little dialogue as possible, because when they start like talking about this and that, or we gotta do this, we gotta go there, and back then this person, this, that, like some of that stuff just loses you, you know what I mean? And it just makes no sense to you, or it goes over your head. So I'd rather it be like less talking and more action, right, so I don't have to really like follow up with anything.
You're talking too much.
Right.
I'm trying to see some more action.
Yeah, like shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
Yeah, so action for sure, dialogue not so much. So let's see. I'm sorry, because some of the questions we've already answered. I'm trying to like skim over those. So I guess we head into like the final thoughts. Like, would you recommend Ballerina to fans of John Wick, and why or why not?
Yeah, I mean, I would definitely recommend people to watch this movie. I feel like maybe might be a new the new face, maybe.
Yeah.
A new female. I mean, I know lately there's been a lot of more female actors that's going to more action. And it shows that women can be badasses too.
Yeah.
So, which she did, I think she did a great job in this movie.
Yeah.
If she was in another action-packed movie, I'll probably go see it.
Yeah. For sure. And in the cool way, she still kept it like, you know, feminine. You know what I mean? Like she didn't like, just because she was like, you know, full of action and like killing and all this other shit, like she didn't seem like masculine or anything like that in any way. I guess it's like, you know, like the whole ballerina style, you know, just kind of like dainty, just small figured woman just out there just kicking ass, man. So but yeah, like
I definitely could see it being a ballerina too.
Oh yeah,
I feel like there's something gonna happen.
I can definitely see it being 4. I don't know what 3 and 4 would be, but I can definitely see more to come. And who knows if they're gonna, like, you know, spawn another, you know, assassin from the Ballerina series or franchise or whatever, you know. But most definitely, I would recommend it to people, and I have been. Anybody who I think would like to see this stuff. I even talked to this dude about it today at work. I was like, "Hey man, have you seen the Ballerina?" He's like, "Ballerina? What the fuck is that?" I was like,
"Yeah, everybody, it sounds like a chick flick."
Yeah, I know. What the fuck you asked me if I seen Ballerina for?
Yeah.
So I told him, I was like, if you've seen John Wick, but he said he hadn't seen John Wick, but I was just like. He said he knows about John Wick though, so I was just like, all right, well, this is like an extension of that. Like this chick is that, just this chick is this or whatever. So, he's like, oh shit, okay, yeah, that sounds good. I'm gonna have to check that out. So I've been like putting it in people's ear as much as possible, and I haven't seen that dude who actually told me that. When I see it, wait for the part. Which I still don't know what part he's talking about. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
And he's like, I was like, what part are you talking about? He's like, you'll know. I'm like, no. What do you mean?
I wonder, like, so technically, I wonder what's gonna happen because John Wick technically didn't kill her, and Eve technically broke the rules. So is she allowed to go back?
Right?
You know what I mean? Is she gonna be rogue forever? Like
maybe,
you know. So it's like,
because wasn't like it was a bounty on her at the end of the movie, right?
There was,
yep,
there was a bounty because I remember she was watching a ballerina. She was
like she was at like a opera or something like that,
like where the ballerinas dance.
Yeah.
And then like everybody was getting messages on their phone, and then she left.
Yeah.
So I think that's how it ended, right? When her just leaving the theater.
Yeah.
And
she's going to have to fight her way through all the assassins, you know what I mean?
Man.
So
that could be part 2.
Yeah,
you know? Everybody coming after her.
I think that's going to be sick. Damn, dude. I'm already like excited. Like, damn, dude. I need to go back and I know you were watching John Wick again, right? Like, which ones did you started watching one?
Unfortunately, I couldn't watch them all because
time consuming.
Well, no, that's not that. Well, they have all the John Wick movies on Peacock.
Okay.
And I was watching the first one, and I was watching a little bit of the second one, and I noticed, I guess it was a time trial. Because like it said like 4 days, and then 3 days, and 2 days.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? So like, I guess my days ran out. So unless I subscribe to Peacock, I can finish watching the rest of the John Wicks. But yeah,
I need to weed through my subscriptions, man. I got way too many, and it's just each month, not even using them, and they're just collecting. You know what I mean? So
it's not a lot to you, but you're filling up their pockets. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, sure. Like, if like say from January to December, man, like if you racked or added it all up, man, you'd probably be disgusted. You know what I mean? Like, oh shit, I just wasted this much money.
It's just sitting on your TV and not even watch. So.
And I think that's kind of what they hope for. Like, there's like, even if they're not watching anything, they're still paying us, you know? So that's why I need to, because there's some apps like Rocket Money or something like that is supposed to like help you budget your finances and whatnot, as well as like it has this ability to see all your subscriptions and list them all for you, and you can hit cancel on that app, so you can cancel all your subscriptions and shit like that. So I've been thinking about, but I wonder if that's another subscription though.
I think that sounds like another subscription.
Yeah,
because they're controlling how to balance your bills and stuff like that.
Which, I mean, it could be a worthwhile subscription. You know what I'm saying? Especially if that's not too expensive, and it's helping you manage your money, as well as ditch some of these other subscriptions that you're not using. So could be worthwhile, at least say for a year, like until you get your shit together, and then you knew how to do it on your own, and they can just all right, I'm done, I can do this on my own.
Yeah, so
that's what I need to do. It's just get on something that I can manage better, especially with everything getting more expensive, and just create a better budget, so I can know exactly what I can spend and what can't, what needs to go towards this, what needs to go towards that. And yeah.
I mean, even if you do find something to watch, like, how often are you watching anything else?
Not that often though.
So like this past month and a half, The Last of Us season 2.
Mm-hmm.
So of course, I subscribe to HBO Max, and there's really nothing else that I want to see on HBO Max, so I just canceled it. So
my only thing with HBO Max is that there's it's DC. It's all DC stuff on there. So if you're a big fan of DC, it's definitely worthwhile. And I haven't even really watched The Last of Us season 2. You know what I mean? Because since it's like I've played the game, so I don't know. So I'm kind of like, I feel like I've already seen that story.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Unless you want to watch a live action version of the game, that's basically it. Because it's almost, well, there's a few changes, but most of it, that's a good 80% matches the game. Yeah, you're just watching it in live.
Right. Which the game was already kind of like its own movie. You know what I mean? So it's just kind of seemed like you just rewatching your favorite show or something like that.
So just like the game, I've heard that you can become Abby in the game.
Yeah.
So in the season,
you spend time with Abby.
I think season 3 is going to be Abby's point of view.
Oh,
that's how it ended. But I'm not gonna say anything more than that. But yeah, because so you know how Abby killed Joel, and Ellie's
out to get revenge,
out to get back on Abby and her group. So her and Dina, which is not part of the game, because I think it was what's Joel's brother's name? Robbie? No, it's not Robbie.
Gosh darn it.
But well, Ellie and Dina goes to Seattle.
Mm-hmm.
And after that, it says day 1 in Seattle. Mm. And then towards the end, it says day 1 Seattle, but it shows Abby's POV.
Oh.
So I think season 3 is going to be same timeline, but what she sees. And then she finds out how Ellie's killing her friends. Oh, yeah. And then it's going to link up at the same time.
Okay.
So that's how it's going to show.
I guess that's clever. But I was like, man, I thought they were rushing season 2 too soon, with Joel's killing, because I was thinking that maybe season 2 could have been, what we didn't see during the game, leading up from the end of The Last of Us 1, and then this could be in between The Last of Us 1 and Last of Us 2, and then season 3 could be The Last of Us 2, and then maybe season 4 could be Abby. You know what I mean? So that's what I was thinking that they were, what I would have done probably, but I'm the director.
They had well, since you played the game, this is not going to be a spoiler. Do you remember the scene where pretty much Abby finds out Ellie's killing her friends?
Mm-hmm.
What's the Asian dude's name? The Asian guy.
Oh, man, I know who you're talking about though.
Well, Abby finds Ellie, Asian dude,
and Joel's
brother in the theater,
and kills the Asian dude.
Kills the Asian dude.
It was so quick though.
Pretty much, that's how season 2 ended.
Yeah.
And then it showed Abby waking up, and what confused me was like I thought that was a dream, but no, it was really her just waking up from her point of view. But that actually happened later on.
Yeah.
That the end of the episode actually happened. It was just now like, okay, we're done with Ellie's point of view. We're gonna start with Abby's point of view. So
okay, that's clever.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Just trying to extend that season, trying to get some more views.
Yeah.
That's makes sense.
So I guess jumping back into Ballerina, was there any moments that stood out to you the most before we wrap that up?
No, I mean, I think, the fight scenes was really good. The way certain kills was different. Yeah. The way they were executing the kills was like different from what I'm usually seeing. I don't know. It's a good version of a female John Wick. Like, probably maybe better. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, especially, there's room for them to do a lot more with it.
I did notice, like, I don't know if you knew this, but John Wick is very good with, like, wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
You know how he does that one move where he lays you down and, like, he actually did it to her.
Jiu-jitsu, basically. Yeah.
He does some kind of flip and he lays you and he like does a crossbar on your arm or something. I don't know. But it's like a famous. He does it in his other movies. He does it quite a bit, and he did that one move on her as well. I think to get her lose her gun or something. But yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of like what they were in the movie Ballerina when they were practicing, like their, sparring and stuff like that. That's
probably why John Wick's so good, because he learned that too. So
right. But I would say the standout moments to me were the grenade scene, and the flamethrower. Basically, those are the two standout moments that I think once everybody sees, it's gonna that's gonna be their takeaway from the movie. It's just like, damn, those scenes were just creative, man, for real. So I'm gonna throw in another question. What movies are you looking forward to seeing next? Like, is there anything in your on your list that you are looking forward to seeing next?
Well, since my birthday's coming up next month in July, Superman.
Yes, sir. I was hoping you said that, boy.
Superman's gonna be good.
You say that.
Fantastic Four is gonna be good.
Yeah. Which I don't remember the last time I've been to an IMAX, but I would like to go see Superman on an IMAX. So if you want to do that, we can in Louisville. You know what I mean?
Where is the closest?
I think Cinemark or something like that. I found I haven't bought it. I was going to buy it the other day. I was like, shoot, that's maybe ask Chae. See if you wanted to do it. Let's see. Closest IMAX for Superman. That's what I'm going to look up. Closest. Yeah, I was hoping you said Superman. I was like, hell yeah. Because that movie, it looks like it's going to be good, bro. Let's see. The AMC, it's yeah. Yeah, it's an AMC theater.
Is it in J-Town?
Maybe. Let's see. Stony Brook. Yeah, Stony Brook is in, let's see, where is it?
I think that's a little past St. Matthews.
Yeah, I think it's
maybe in between St. Matthews and Middletown, I think, somewhere in there.
Yeah, I think so. Let me see if I can find the. Because it's AMC Houston Acres. Yeah, we can look that up.
Yeah, we can look at it later.
Yeah, but
yeah, I'm down for that for sure. Like,
oh yeah.
Let's see. I'm trying to think of some trailers that we saw while we was watching the movie. I did see. I'm not sure if you like Jurassic Park.
I do. I like Jurassic Park a lot, actually.
Jurassic Park, New World.
Yeah.
I just saw a trailer on that TikTok. It looked pretty good.
Because I think like the main dinosaur in this one, because it's like the abandoned world of the Jurassic Park, but when they were experimenting on different dinosaurs to try to like make the T-Rex. Well, yeah, because I think they were like crossbreeding different dinosaurs. I don't know if they were trying to make their own dinosaur or if they were trying to make like the T-Rex. And there was like this abomination dinosaur that was made, and they've been keeping it like contained, and I guess it's like getting out, or it's gotten out now. I forget what they call it, but I think
I know what you're talking about. It has like 3 or 4 different species mixed in, or something. I think
something.
It was like way bigger than T-Rex.
Yeah. Yeah, so it looks pretty cool. Like I think it like a pretty dope cast. Scarlett Johansson, like I'm usually already pulling up for her. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What's his name? The dude that's supposed to play Blade.
Oh, fuck. I know you talk. I don't know his name. But I know you're talking about. I can visualize his face.
Yeah,
because he played in Luke Cage.
Yeah.
As one of
the villains.
Antagonists.
Yeah. I don't know why I'm blanking on his name. I don't know why I'm blanking on his name. Mahershala Ali. There we go.
Okay.
Yeah, him, and I forget who else is going to be in there. But I mean, it looks like it's going to be a fun movie, and I like that they turn them into like thrillers now. You know what I mean?
I'm not sure if I saw this correctly, but it seemed like they gave the raptors wings.
Oh, because
I don't know. They're like flying raptors now. I don't know, but
I don't know if raptors flew.
No, not. But I think they made it where they're crossbreeding them now.
Oh, okay,
so now they got like wings.
Oh,
because the only ones that got wings is pterodactyls, right?
Yeah.
Pterodactyls. But for some reason, this looked like a winged raptor. I don't know.
Well, I think like the actual dinosaurs back then actually have feathers and shit. You know what I mean? So I think because the closest relative to the T-Rex now is the chicken. So, they're actually like kind of like birds or lizards or whatever. Like, I don't know. It's kind of hard to like figure out what the relations are with birds and dinosaurs, because to me, I would think like reptiles, but they're like, they have feathers like birds and shit, which I guess it was just wild times back then, like,
yeah.
Which is, what's crazy? What I found out about dinosaurs, like they roamed the earth like for millions of years before they went extinct. But the fucking Stegosaurus, I think, roamed the earth before the T-Rex did, but they went extinct before the T-Rex roamed the earth. So they were already extinct for like, I think like a couple million years or something like that, in between the T-Rex coming to its rise and all that shit or whatever. Well, either one of the two existed before the other, but I know like we think that they all existed at one time with one another.
Yeah.
But there's just different species that we know of that didn't even like meet or exist in the same time period with one another. You know what I'm saying? So which is like mind blowing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, but it's crazy to think about that actually happened like so long ago, just like millions of years. Like your brain can't even fathom a million years, not even like 1,000 years, really.
Yeah.
Well, 1,000 maybe, but
yeah,
I think anything
but
beyond,
1 million,
yeah,
that's a lot of years.
Yeah. Well, anything else you want to add to the podcast or to the episode? Any
other than what we talked about? I think that's pretty much it.
Okay. All right. Well, yeah, guys. I agree with Chae. I feel like I've said everything I can say about the new Ballerina movie. I think if y'all haven't checked it out, if you're really a big fan of the John Wick franchise, or even if you've seen bits and pieces of John Wick or trailers or whatever, and have somewhat of an interest, I would suggest either watching either or both. And I think you're going to have a really good time. You know what I mean? It's just one of those movies that you can just, relax, turn your brain off with, and just see how creative they get with these action scenes, because they are just top notch. Okay. All right. So, just like we said, we're going to try to check out the Superman together, and as well as the Jurassic Park, if you want to do podcast episodes for those, if you'd like to. Yeah. So, yeah. Cool. So be on the lookout for those podcast episodes, and I appreciate all of y'all pulling up to watch this episode and all the other previous episodes. And with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and get out of here, guys, and I'm going to catch y'all in the next one. All right. Peace.
See y'all.